In this video, we're going to be looking at correlations and the knowledge that you need for this topic. And hopefully you'll find it pretty straightforward. It's just some vocabulary that we have to learn to describe some graphs. So let's say I have some data that kind of looks like this. We'll start with this left-hand one. Okay. And you may have done this in science before. We do a line of best fit that looks, something like this. And what you might notice from this is that these red crosses are almost perfectly on this line of best fit. Okay. And correlations is all about how close our data is to the line and what direction is the line going in. So at the moment, this is going upwards from left to right. Okay, so as we're going upwards, kind of in this direction, we call this a positive correlation. And correlation just means relationship or link. So there's a positive link. As this one goes up, that one goes up, and vice versa. As the X goes up, the Y goes up, and we'll go up in this sort of diagonal line upwards. Okay. The opposite of that would be one that goes downwards from left to right. So this is a negative correlation, a negative relationship. And then we have one left over at the end, which we'll talk about in a sec, but we'll come back to this. Okay, so positive correlation and negative. We also use a word to describe how good this data is compared to this line. This positive correlation, where the crosses are almost exactly on the line, just a little bit off in some cases, but a tiny amount, we could use the word strong. Okay, strong positive correlation. If we look at the negative one and we use sort of these crosses, we can see that the graph is generally going downwards, but some of the data is a little bit further away from the line. Like there's kind of a bit of a gap here. Okay, we can still see it's negative, but it's not as close as this. So in this case, we might use the word moderate. Okay, moderate negative correlation. Okay, and this moderate and strong, it's difficult to sort of quantify this. When does it become moderate? So the strong and the moderate aren't as important as the positive and negative. They don't often ask about how strong the link is, but it's something that you should be aware of. Okay, because if the data is really scattered, but it kind of looks like it's going in that upwards direction, we might say it's a weak positive. Okay, but we don't really want to get into that amount of detail at this stage. We're just looking more about the positive and the negative, and if it's really close, we might say strong, but I would say you're really more focused on whether it's going upwards and downwards. Okay, this last one here, we're going to leave for no correlation. Okay, where the data is basically just completely spread out like this, and you couldn't really draw a line of best fit here. It wouldn't make any sense, because is it going across like this or is it going up? We can't really tell. So there's no correlation here. This is very rare in the exams, I would say. Excuse me, you're much more likely to see a positive or a negative correlation, and you just have to use that one word to describe it. If it's a 2-mark question, which is also very rare, you might have to talk about if it's strong or moderate. Okay, so give that a try on the app and just see if you can recognize when it's positive, negative, and no correlation.